In this video, I'll be showing you all the winter greens that I've been growing in the garden and how I use them. Alright, so in this bed here, I have the WASABINA mustard greens. So that's like an Asian mustard, and it kind of has a wasabi flavor. This has been really good and very tasty. I've used it in some Asian stir fries I've been making, and even in some curry that I've cooked, even though I don't know that that's necessarily something you would traditionally use in that, but it ended up being pretty good since it has a very strong flavor. And this is an EMIKO cabbage, also I believe it was a Japanese type cabbage. This I haven't actually gotten to use in a recipe more appropriately. I've tasted it and it definitely has a stronger flavor. It doesn't quite taste like cabbage, but I haven't personally used it yet, but I could imagine where that would be pretty tasty and probably using it in some kind of stir fry or a soup maybe. And in this bed here, we've got a few garlics. This we haven't gotten to harvest yet, so hopefully we'll get some this year. We've got a couple different varieties here, lotus garlic, China stripe garlic. But definitely when the weather gets cold out, the garlics do pretty well. They can handle a lot more cold. In here is I forget what variety, it's some kind of, green cabbage, but I don't remember the specific variety. I've used a little bit of this again in like the Asian stir fry, waiting for them to get a little more bigger, and I'm sure I'll be using them in some other recipes. I like to make cabbage pie on occasion, so that's something I'm hoping I'll get to use them for later. I actually do like making the cabbage pie a lot. I didn't know that I would like that recipe very much. That's like a Russian and European recipe, but it's pretty good, and you have like sour cream and yogurt, cabbage. Yeah, it's a pretty delicious recipe. I just didn't know I would like it that much. Here are some of my pea plants. This one was the Oregon sugar pod, I believe. The one behind here is a dwarf Desiree pea. As you can see, they have like this very nice purple color. These have been growing pretty well through the winter here. And these obviously peas, there are quite a few uses you can use them for. I like to take the younger pods and again use them in a lot of my stir fry and stuff. As you can tell, I make a lot of Asian stir fry. All right, and here are some of the turnips. So far I haven't harvested any actual turnips, but I've been using the turnip greens. And I do have to say I do like these. The turnips are definitely very prolific for one thing. But I think the green is pretty versatile. I've used that in various different things now. So whether it be the stir fries, I put it in, I think I've used it in some soup. I've even made some like sandwiches. I actually had made like a little bread-free steak sandwich for myself the other day. I'd just taken some of the steak and rolled it up like a little burrito there, but yeah, I do like the turnip greens a lot. They're very versatile. And right here, this was the Tokyo Bacana. So this is another kind of lettuce type green. This one has kind of a stronger flavor to it. I haven't used it as much, but I do think it's something that you would probably like if you like more particular flavors in your greens and not just green flavor. This is a pak choi. Hasn't gotten very big yet, so I haven't used it this year, but last year we had some, and I did use that in some soups. Here's one of my radish beds. One of I think I've got like 4 or 5 radish beds going, all different kinds of radishes. Here though, actually, I think it's about time to pick. These are some French breakfast radishes right here. But I've gotten a couple off of these. But same thing with radishes. they're good. They are good for eating raw and like in salads and things like that. But actually, I've found that chopping or slicing them up, and then I kind of cook them in like garlic, some seasoning, and some coconut oil, and just kind of like saute them like that. And they're actually very good that way. I really like cooking radishes that way. All right, and here's some oregano. The oregano is here most of the time, like all year long anyway. It grows through the winter and the summer. We've had several patches of this here for several years. But this is good because it lasts through the winter. I think it's a good herb to eat during the winter because of all of its health benefits. But we use this fairly often as far as like in pizzas and lasagnas. We have a lot of it dried. I mean, I have oregano, rosemary, and basil all dried for our Italian spice usage, so oregano is definitely good to have around. And here's some green onions. These actually, I think, these have been here like a year or two. These were actually grown off of just some store-bought onions, green onions, and we just took the bottom part and had rooted it, so these grew off of that. As you can see, there's quite a bit of that there. But yeah, these are always good for using in seasonings and stuff. We use these fairly often when eating, again, stir fry, and just other dishes, that green onion is good in. All right, and here we've got a couple Brussels sprouts in here. These are about like 2 years old now. I don't exactly know Brussels sprouts, like when the Brussels sprout is supposed to form exactly, but that may be something that takes more time. But as far as the leaves, I haven't used these actually in cooking as of yet, but we have been using them to feed the chickens. The chickens really seem to like the Brussels sprouts and the broccoli leaves a lot, so it's been good for chicken feed. Anyway, so that's a lot of the winter greens that I've been using in my cooking over the past winter. But something I just want to mention is even the recipes that I've used, a lot of that can be more traditional in terms of what I'm using it for. But I also want to encourage people to be more creative about how they even use their greens. There are just ways that you can cook them or use them in certain recipes that you may not think actually tastes good, but it does. So I would encourage you to, try new things with it and use them in different ways than even you were taught to even use them. So kind of like what I said about the turnip greens, I think overall it's a very good green that can be used in various ways. And as I said, even with the Brussels sprouts, a lot of these things we do feed to our chickens and stuff, so they can be used not only for people, but even being fed to animals in some cases too. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to come back with some more later, talking more about the other plants we've been growing in the garden and how we use them.